Hello everybody. I would like to apologize for being a bit late. Today was supposed to be my big starting day on this project, and then I had to move it and then I was late, so I apologize. So hello Carolina, and hello Emily, and hello Victor, and anybody else who's in the chat. Emily said, I'm excited to see this transformation from design to code. So am I. So today, trying to check if there are any messages. No. Okay. Today might not be so much design to code. Hey, Aruba's here as well. No pressure. All these amazing designers and developers are in my stream. There's no pressure. So today might not be super exciting because today I'm literally just going to be setting up my environment, setting up any kind of tooling that I want to set up. And when I say tooling, I mean things like I'm probably going to use create block theme. And I've been thinking about automating some of the create block theme functionality somehow, because I don't want to have to open up the plugin and hit write to files every time I make changes. And I want to set up my GitHub repository and just all those kind of like initial setup things. So today might not be super exciting. We might not even get to theme development today. I'm trying to approach this as if this is a client project. So that's how I'm trying to kind of turn my brain back into freelance developer mode. And a client has come to me and they've given me this design and they want me to turn this into a theme. Thank you, Aruba, for that bit of support there. I hope I'm saying your name correctly as well. Is it Aruba or Aruba? I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Please let me know. So I'm trying to approach this like it's a client project and thinking about how I'm going to do things. So today's hour will probably just be most of that kind of planning and setup before I even look at the theme in depth and start making notes and all those kind of things. Aruba, awesome, thank you. I find the whole stream thing to be quite interesting because it's not as interactive as a Zoom session. In the Zoom chat, if folks reply to a conversation, then it's sort of instant. But there seems to be a delay in the stream chat, so it's an interesting scenario. All right, so I'm going to be working in PHP Storm just because I've always used PHP Storm. I've used it for a while now. I've got a clean WordPress install set up, just called WordPress, and I'm going to be building in that local setup. If anybody's interested, I use, and I don't recommend that you do this. This is just my personal choice. I use a thing called WP Local ENV, which is a local development environment that runs on something called Multipass, which is a Canonical product. It does support Mac OS and Linux at the moment, and I'm working on Windows support. And so that's what I'm using. So if you see me doing any kind of weird command liney things around that, that's because I'm using that. What I like about it is I can quickly spin up and shut down sites, but I can also do something like multipass shell WP local env, and I can SSH into that instance and I can change things and do things, do whatever else I want. So that's my local dev environment. It is probably running PHP 8, which I actually just want to check here quickly for a second. So let's just make sure of that. Where's the thanks break? Yeah, so it's running 8.1. Which is probably not ideal because WordPress doesn't fully support 8.1 yet, so I'm going to need to fix that. So let me just log into my server quickly and no, etc Apache, no. There we go. So this is just using some standard Apache virtual hosts. And then I keep a blog post handy on how to do different PHP versions. So in case you're wondering, yes, most of the stuff that I have notes of to myself, I have on my blog somewhere. So if you want to see how I work, go check out my blog. Okay, so I'm just going to set this in the SSL conf file. I usually do it after the files match. Directive. Oh, it's inside the files match directive, sorry. Yeah, I do it just after files. So there's one there already, so I'll pop this one in here. And this is just going to tell this virtual host to run PHP 7.4. Okay. Let's restart Apache. Oh, restart would help. And PHP 7.4 FPM. And now we should be running 7.4. Cool. So that'll just mean I don't have any weird PHP 8 bugs. Ironically, I'm doing a workshop on basic plugins for PHP 8 later this week, so this will be handy for that. Okay, then I want to set up the code. And so what I'm going to do for this process is I'm going to install Create Block Theme. Because I kind of want to use it as like my sort of development tool, or a development tool, if you will. Because that's what it's meant for. But I also want to test it out, and I also want to see how it's going to work in my flow. And just use it for simple things like creating a blank theme that I can work on. So the goal is to try and do as much as I can in the block editor, and then write that content to the Redditor files. I know Carolina and I had a conversation recently on Twitter about switching things on and off. So I might have to do some of that myself. But I'm going to be using Create Block Theme quite a bit, probably. And it's this overwrite option that I might want to look at automating. So that's kind of one of the plans there. So for now, I'm just going to create a blank theme. And I'm going to call it Sendig, because that's the name of the theme, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Sendig. Out of interest, Emily, if you're still around, I'd love to know why you named it Sendig. I'd love to know what that's about. So maybe if you can let us know in the chat. Carolina says, I believe some of the PHP 8 bugs have been solved. Yeah, most of the features should be fine. I just don't want to run into anything weird anyway. So I'll develop in 7.4 for now. I don't need more stress. Okay, so we'll just call it Sendig, and then we will say a new WordPress block theme. And I'm going to pop it the GitHub URL just for the sake of putting something in. And then I think you can do this. I think so. We'll see. That I'm going to leave for now. I'll leave out the features and things for now. And we'll just generate this. Okay, so that should be working. And just because, oh look, Create Block Theme does its own little icon now. Just to make life easy, Was there an option for that? Create block thing. Oh, you can choose a file. I missed that completely. Let's do that again. There's been some new stuff added to this since last I looked at it. That's pretty cool, actually. So let's do that again. So Sendig. Emily says, it sounds cool. And it's the letters in design. Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to add the word there just for the sake of it. That's cool. I like it. Okay. And then let's upload. So I do have a screenshot that I think I still have on my desktop somewhere. Yes, there it is. So let me see what the... So it's 2560 by 1440, which should be fine. Okay, well, let's resize that quickly. So yes, being a bit of an open source nerd, I use GIMP for my image manipulation. Not the best name in the world, but what you're going to do. So let's find that, and then let's convert this. So let's take the image size. Image. That's not going to be enough. So, okay, so let's say scale image to 900 high. And then I'm going to change the canvas to 200. I'm going to make sure the first couple of pages are visible. There we go. Perfect. And then let's export this. Right. And then let's add the file. Oh, it's PNG. I missed that. PNG only. Okay. So let's add that. Is a link to Figma possible? So it's actually not Figma, it's Sketch. And Emily was kind enough, I did check this with her. She was kind enough to say that this design is open source. So folks are welcome to use this and do their own things with it. Emily, if you know how to find a link that I can share for this, let me know in the chat, because I don't. I haven't worked in design tools for a while, so if you would either like to share a link or if you want to teach me how to do it quickly now, let me know. But yeah, Emily has said that folks are allowed to have a look at it and use it if they want to. So while that's doing that, I'm going to just finish up here. So let's create the blank theme. Okay, so now we should have a theme with a screenshot. Yay! Okay, so that's looking good. And so now I want to commit this to GitHub, or to Git at least. I just want to see what this has created. So it's a theme.json with some default settings. I'm probably going to have to change a bunch of those, but that's fine. Style CSS, cool. That's the screenshot. That's the README. We'll need to update that at some point. Oh, I like this, Emily. Don't you like this? And there's my index template. Okay, that will probably have to make some changes to template parts, footer and header. Cool, we'll have to change those. Oh, cool. Awesome. Emily shared the link in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm going to make a copy of this so that I have it in my simple note in case anybody needs this. I'm actually going to create. So I use Simple Note for all my notes. And I'm going to try not to show things that I shouldn't be showing. I'll have to do some changes and things. I'm going to create a Sendig notes. It autocorrects, typical. And I'm going to pop the link in there, and then we can get it back if we ever need it. Cool. Awesome. I'm going to add this somewhere so that folks can get it if they need to. So let's add it to the README. You can find the sketch files here. And then that'll be added to the repository, and anybody who comes along can check it out. Awesome. Am I going to do a changelog? Probably not during development. Yeah. So I'll just leave that like that. Copyright can stay the same. That can all stay the same. That's perfect. All right, so let us add this to GitHub. And this is one of the things that I love about GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, all of these services. They give you all the commands you need to run. Carolina says, does the theme run on 5.8? I don't know, we'll have to test that. I assume you mean WordPress 5.8. That's a good question. Give me a second. So that's where we come into testing. So let me commit this code. Let me exit out of here. So let's go WP local env sites, and let's go WordPress, and WP content and themes and Sendig. And let us start getting. Now I'll be honest, the rest of all of these I always remember. The only one I tend to forget is this one. So I always just, what I do is I start the repo, and then I do all the command line stuff, and then I just remember I copy that one out. So for now we can just git add everything, because I don't mind. We can go git commit -a, and we can just say initial theme, let's say framework, because that's going to be everything I need. And then the one that I can never remember is the git branch -m main. Git branch. So I'm going to follow WordPress naming conventions and say trunk, because it just makes more sense that you have branches from a trunk. So I'm going to switch to the trunk branch, or make that the main branch at least. And then I'm going to git remote add origin, that one. And I'm going to also make a note. I'll do that afterwards. So these are the kind of things that pop into my head while I'm thinking of these things. And then I'm going to git push origin trunk. Okay. So that's all there and done. Now, there's the code, there's the README. You can see the sketch things there. That's perfect. So now let's start adding some issues, shall we? Carolina, do you want to add the 5.8 issue? You're more than welcome to. That'd be really cool. You know, test on 5.8 and test backwards compatibility and all that. So I'll copy the issues link out. Why is my copy paste not working? That's annoying. If folks want to start adding issues, they're more than welcome to. The first issue that I want to add, specifically to something that I was looking at now. Yes. So there is currently, I want to share this with folks who are interested. There is currently a discussion in the training team that we start looking at reusing the WP training team GitHub organization. Now, Aruba, you would remember this from your time on the training team. And I know this because there's your face there. But this was like an organization within GitHub that the WordPress training team used, and they used it for various repositories and things, and coding best practices, and sort of a resource of knowledge. And it's kind of been sitting, not unused, but not having much activity on it since August 2022. And then somebody who manages the core dev blog, so Birgit, who manages the WordPress core developer blog, so wordpress.org, I think it's developer.wordpress.org news. So Birgit manages this, and I'm sure for some of you folks have seen some of the blog posts there. And she was saying we need somewhere to house all of these example repositories. And so we're busy in the training team. We've kind of raised it as a maybe we should look at reusing this. I think Birgit spoke to Josefa. Josefa recommended this organization, and the training team seems to think it's a good idea. Awesome. Log that issue. Log it. And so that's what we're going to be looking at doing. So what I would like to do eventually is move this code for this theme over to that new resource, so that folks can access it, so that we can use it as a learning resource as well. So my first issue is going to be that. So consider moving the theme code to the official WordPress example code organization. And I'm calling it that because we're talking about renaming it. Organization. Yeah, they thought about WP training. Somebody else recommended Learn WordPress, which I thought was a better idea than WP training, because then it's about learning WordPress, which the training team learn.wordpress.org and the developer blog is all about. So a couple of names have been suggested, and we'll look at what makes sense for. I want it to be more than just the training team. I want it to be anybody who's writing and creating content for any one of these official places. They can host their code repositories there. So I'm just going to link it to there for now. Once is repurposed for all learning content, example content. Moving this repository there. Okay, so that's my issue. Carolina, I hope you've logged your issue. I really hope you have. Come on, make it happen. Come on. If you don't, I'll do it later. Don't worry. But that's a good point about testing. We need to test. How will I do that? Maybe some GitHub Actions. That could be fun. You are typing. Awesome. I love it. Power of community. Cool. That could be fun because I haven't used GitHub Actions to test a theme before. So that could be a fun little learning curve as well. And that might be useful to dive into. So that's cool. So yeah, make it happen. Make it an issue. I love it. Can you see I'm excited about this? I'm getting issues for code that doesn't even exist yet, but it does kind of exist. I'm going to need more time than just an hour. Oh dear. And this is why my live streams are unprepared, because I get all excited and started talking fast. But when I do my workshops on a Thursday, I have to slow myself down because I'm presenting and all those things. But live streams are all fun and games. Okay. Right. So we've done that. Now, because I'm committing to Git, as I said, today's going to be super boring. It's setup and tooling today. I'm probably not going to look at design today. But the other thing that I wanted to do, so let me go back to here. Let's make a change to, let's activate this theme. It's active. Okay. Here's a question for you, for the folks that are in the chat. Would it be interesting? Does it matter? Would it be interesting? Would it be useful if at the end of every single one of these hour sessions, I packaged up the theme and made it accessible as a download? Obviously, Carolina's probably forked the code, or she's just downloaded it from, you can, I think you can just go to here somewhere and you can click download and you can download the zip and all those kind of things. But would it be useful to actually have the as a downloadable zip with the various things that you can test it locally? Or as Victor's saying, are you all comfortable with just getting hold of it via GitHub, forking it and doing what you want? So think about that. Let me know what you think. If you're happy with the zip download or the fork, that's so cool. Maybe Emily wants to install it and see what it does on her side. So let me know. You're welcome to log issues or anything around that. So that's just me going off on a tangent. Anyway, getting back to why I was here in the first place. So With create block theme, there's this option to overwrite your changes, right? So the way that works is you, awesome, Carolina says opening the same issue on create block theme. Nice. Yeah, GitHub allows for a zip as well. There's multiple options. So when you're, so if I go into, say, the editor, and I change, let's just click on that, and let's change something in the global styles, and let's change the wide setting. So let's go from, let's make the 600 and 200 or whatever it is, right? If I save this, then it stores it in the database. So if I have a look at my, this is still 620 and 1000, but in the database it'll be 600 by 1200. I then need to go, and this is kind of, for me, this is a little bit of a, this could be easier. I then need to go back to the navigation, back to the WordPress dashboard, find the create block theme settings page, click on the overwrite Sendig button, click generate, and then it'll run the changes. And then if I have a look in my code, there I'll see the differences. Okay, those are a lot of steps. So what I was thinking was an easier way to do that would be to build a WP-CLI command that you could run that if you're using WP-CLI on the command line. That's one way to do it. And I kind of like that as a solution, but that's going to take a little bit of work. So the other thing that I was thinking is, if I have a look at this plugin code, and if we have a look in create block theme, it is the create block theme class. I'm going to assume that it's a function that gets called when you hit save. So let's have a look here quickly. So here's export, which is to export the theme. Here's create sibling theme. There's going to be a clone theme option. Rest export theme, register theme export, create child theme, export theme, export parent theme, create blank theme. Come on, which one of these is the one I need? Block-based save theme. Okay, I wonder if it's that one. I'm gonna guess it's that one. Maybe. Let's see what option this is. Name, theme, type. Okay, so let's search for type in that code. Here we go. If save post theme type. So it's doing the block-based save theme. Then it's checking this. Then it runs save theme locally, save theme locally. So it's reliant on that. Is it save? Yes. It's reliant on save being posted there, and then it runs effectively all of this. And then what else does it maybe do? That's all it seems to do. Here's a question. Okay, so I should be able to I should be able to create a new instance of that, run, and then call, no I won't. Interesting. Emily says, if we're building a new theme, why wouldn't we just edit the theme JSON file for those global settings? So, we probably would. And maybe that's a whole another conversation. So the thing that I like about that is it means we don't have to worry about these things. The thing that I don't like about that is it means I don't get to see the changes, which is kind of cool. But I do see your point, Emily. It's really sort of six of one and half a dozen of the other, I think is the saying. I could definitely go ahead and code it all myself. I think I want to challenge myself to try and use the block editor like we as a community are trying to convince folks to do. So that I can find, for me, it's about finding the hurdles in that process. So it's a difficult one for me. That having been said, if I was building this from scratch myself, I might, ye old days, if you will, I would have been writing it all myself. So yeah. It's a tough one. And that's the other consideration about a new options page. I know Caroline and I briefly discussed this on Twitter recently, where she was talking about being able to disable, enable things, but within Gutenberg, within the block editor. I agree 100% with that. Whether the functionality lives in core or a plugin is one thing, but where it displays is another thing. And almost, Carolina, the reason that I was so keen on your idea was because while I love what Create Block Theme does, I do not like the fact that I have to go back to this page to do those changes. So I'm trying to think about so Emily, let me go back to the original question. As a developer, my laziness means that I like the idea of going into the editor. And for example, if we look at your, so let's have a look at your styles, for example. If we have, let's say, your type system. I love the idea of saying, right, this is the font, and these are all the options, and doing all of those in the editor. And then just hitting save and it writes all that to the theme JSON. I love that from a laziness point of view. And yes, Carolina, it is a great style guide. Emily, I don't think you folks realize what an amazing job Emily's done. It has blown me away every single. I'm so excited to work with this. There's even a pattern that I can play with, which is cool. Anyway, so a couple of patterns, should I say, that I can play with. So that's so cool. So yeah, it's something I still need to figure out. I haven't quite. I'm gonna log it as an issue today, just because I'm gonna see how it goes. Increase the requires at least to 6.2. Fair enough. I love it. I feel like I need to decide on this problem. Will we? I mean, two minds. I'm really in two minds. Do I just get into it? Do I force myself down one path or the other? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'll tell you that much. I think I'm gonna stick with my original thought, which was to design it as much as I can in the editor. And the reason is a purely personal one. And that's a super important question there, Ruba. If I wasn't streaming, I wouldn't just get into it. I'd be sitting here for like a day deciding these things. It's actually one of the reasons I don't like the fact that I'm streaming this, because now I feel like I have to make this decision quickly because folks are watching. But if I wasn't streaming, I would honestly sit and contemplate the pros and cons. If it was a personal project, if it wasn't a client project, if it was a personal project, then I would just get into it because then it doesn't matter. But if it's a client project, I kind of want to make those decisions up front early and decide which way the project is going to go. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying earlier, purely from a personal point of view, I want to challenge myself to work in the editor. That's one of the things, one of the reasons. So if we get back to the blog post, this is why I love blogging, because now I can refer to this. If we get back to the blog post that I wrote about this, it was in September last year. I had just finished working on the 2 block theme courses that we did for Learn WordPress. And I realized that while I understood the theoretical knowledge of designing and developing a theme in the editor and the extra code and blah, 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 I'd never actually built a theme myself using the block editor. So this was a challenge to myself, to see how far I can get in the block editor, see what the headaches are, see what the hurdles are. And then if I have to write the custom code to work around it, then do that. So I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to stick to that. So it's a purely personal reason. And that's the other interesting thing. At the end of this, it is my hope that I come to some decision about if I had to do this again for a client, which route would I take? Would I still go the site editor route, or would I hard code everything from scratch? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to stick to that path just because that was the decision that I made. Okay. We've got 20 minutes left. Let's start doing some actual developing. I want to just check something here. I seem to recall, I'm not sure if it was in the styles. I'm pretty sure that there was somewhere a specific components, color variables. Okay, so those are all color variables. Emily, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm seeing it, but do you have somewhere in the design your sort of max width setting somewhere? Because I could have swore I did see it, but I'm not finding it now. Or am I going crazy? Let's have a look at the sample page here. So what is this a specific set width, and then is this area a specific set width? Sort of the content width and the wide width. I think it would be styles I generally use 1/200. Okay. Let's check in the styles. I almost could have swore I did see it myself somewhere, but now I can't. I don't know if I'm going crazy. Oh, wait, here we go. It's the horizontal view. It's 1/200 pixels wide. That's fine. I could have swore it was here somewhere. So I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to go with 1/200 and 800, if that's okay with you. And then if we feel the need to change it, we can change it. I could have sworn I saw it somewhere, but now I can't remember. So I'm going to stick to 1/200 and make this 800 because I think that's a standard. Content size 800. If that changes, let me know. But I'm going to stick to 1/200 by 800 now. And then I'm just going to start with the fonts. Why not? So these are the fonts. Okay, so now we can see how far this theme can take us. So the font is, what is it called here? League Spartan, fonts.google.com. I wonder. I'm learning how Sketch works at the same time. So I should be able to add League Spartan using Create Block. So Emily was kind enough to use a Google font. Manage theme fonts. Close this down now. Add Google font. Spot. There we go. And then 400, 300, 500. Okay, let's make some notes here. 300, 400, 500, 700, 900. Okay. 300, 400, 500, 700, and 900. Not gonna lie, as a dev who used to download fonts and set them up in a style sheet back in the day, this is one of my favorite things. Boom, click button, add fonts, upload, download, off it goes. Errors! That's awesome. Okay, time to switch on some debugging. I wasn't expecting an error that early. That must be a bug in the plugin. So let's turn on debugging. Okay, so debug is true. Debug display is false. Debug log. I'm going to set this to a specific location. Just because I want all the log files. I wonder. Might be clever, yeah. Oops, I love it. You should be able to set debug log to a value as well. So I should be able to set it to something with a date stamp. Because that'll be cool. Then we'll see the logs for each time we've worked on this. Okay, so let's say it's going to be WP dev logs, WP errors, so let's go. Oh, now I can never remember this. I'm gonna have to look that up. Been working with PHP for going on 20 odd years now, and I can never remember the date formats. Dear. Okay, let's see here. There we go. So what do I want? I want something like that. Yeah, that'll work. I want to pin that to the log. Okay. Let's see if that works. Okay. So that should write to the log. Yes, and it's date stamped today's date, which is perfect. So it'll just log all of today's errors, and then tomorrow will be new errors. Excellent. All right, so let me just take that out for now. Okay. So now let us do this again. Oh, I need to actually display true, because I want to see them and log them. So let me go and do that again. Can you delete fonts? Yes, you can. Excellent. Yes. Okay, no errors seem to be happening there. Good. Now let's add that again. Okay, and then it was... No, I don't want postman. 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. You watch it not happen now. Okay, excellent. So that looks like a bug in create block theme, which is fine. Array key exists, expects parameters to be array. Class manage fonts. Okay. Why didn't it log those? It's weird. Now I'm annoyed. Is it because I'm displaying them? I thought it just logged it anyway. If you'd told me I got stuck on adding the fonts, I would have told you you're crazy. Why didn't mine work? You know what it could be? The path might be incorrect. Because when I ran it from W shell. Okay, well then it's probably... I can never get paths right. Oh, I need to specify the full path. That's what it is. Okay, so let's do this. Let's actually do the full path. There, that should work. Okay, so let's back here. Okay. Yay! Yeah. So that was the problem with that. All right, so that's something I can worry about some other time. It looks like it has at least added the fonts to the theme, which is great. So there are the variations. So see now again, I need to go back to create block theme, and I need to go back to overrides. I need to hit generate, and then it'll make the changes to my theme JSON. But there at least are those themes. And it saves me a lot of time typing out all that. So anyway, I think what I'm also going to do at the same time is I'm going to take out the system fonts for now. And we'll just work with the theme fonts. Although what I'm probably going to need to do is set the default font in the editor. So Let's do that quickly. Fourth time's a charm. Yeah, because Jonathan wasn't thinking again. I tend to forget some of these things. So let's go back into here and let's set the default. I'm going to set the defaults for now to... Okay, so here's an interesting point of view. If I... Is there a default set somewhere? Okay, I'm going to just set it to League Spartan for now. I'll figure that one out later. So we'll set that. And we'll set links. And we'll set headings. I'm probably going to need to change some of these, but I will do that when we get there. Because I'm probably going to have to change certain things on a block level. So let's save that. And then this is definitely going to get annoying. So I'm definitely going to have to automate this process somehow. Okay. So that changes all of that. So now I've got to think about, like, would I remove the system fonts? That's a whole conversation, I guess. But anyway, at least the theme looks like something. So now if I visit my site, I've at least got some fonts happening, so that's cool. I'm probably gonna have to make a bunch of changes, but at least we've got some fonts. At least the theme is unique now. Okay. So let me think about this. How to automate the process of writing the user changes to the theme files. Currently requires manual intervention using create block theme. AWP CLI addition to create block theme might be nice. Possibly. I'll work on that one. I'll figure it out. But it would be cool just to be able to hit here and do something like inside of the site, do something like WP, I don't know, theme overwrite or something. I'll have to figure that one out. Yeah, or a button. Yeah. Fallback fonts. Do you mean, Emily, I'm going back to your comment about fallback fonts. Do you mean leaving the defaults there as fallbacks? If so, that's probably what I would do. Oh, you mean fallbacks, the theme is installed, of course. Yes. Got it. Yeah, so Aruba and Carolina are basically echoing the sort of the same thing about the fact that some of this create block theme stuff should be in the editor somewhere. But it's this interesting conversation where it's like what should be in core, what should be in plugins, is kind of different now because plugins need to be able to add things to the editor, which is part of core. So, and how extensible is that? You will probably know that if you want to add like something to a settings page, you just find the right hook and you hook in and you go. Is that doable in JavaScript? I haven't even dived into that. Is it possible to add a button to the editor? Question. Yes. I know you have, and I know one of your plugins is exactly the answer to one of those problems. So it's definitely an interesting thing to think about. I'm going to submit this to my. See, this shouldn't even be in my theme, but this is just how things can happen. Who knows? Maybe I'll develop that plugin while I'm working on this. Maybe it'll get so annoying. I do like the idea of a CLI command, but that's because I'm comfortable on the command line. Other people aren't. So I could create a REST endpoint and then figure out how to add the button. That's an option. I have to have a play with that. So I'd love to hear. So here's an interesting thing. Here's the issue: how to automate the process of writing the user changes to the theme. A live stream chat is not the best place to have this conversation because it's time delayed and I'm talking to myself effectively and you guys are chatting, you folks are chatting in the chat. If you have opinions about this, leave them in the issue. It's issue number 3 on the Sendig GitHub repo, which should be public on my GitHub account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to star it so it pops up at the top of my I think if I star it there. Oh, it's the pins, that's what it is. I think I just starred my own repository, which is like the worst form of self-ego. So it's the pins. So I'm going to customize my pins and I'm going to move it. It's time to get rid of dev jokes because that doesn't exist anymore. And it's time to pin Sendig. There it is. And can you move these around, I wonder? Because what I would love to do is move Sendig up. Yes, you can. So we'll pop Sendig over there. There we go. And there's that. And there's that. Perfect. So if you have comments on this, I would love to hear your opinions. So the questions would be: would a CLI command be enough? Should it be a button? Should it just be a CLI command? Should it be both? I would love to hear your opinions. I see Victor's already added his comments. That's great. And then here's the next question. Would it be interesting to build the plugin as part of this process? If we look at building that plugin that adds that button, would that be an interesting part of the process? Because I'll tell you why. I am the kind of person who builds these things and doesn't release them and just uses them myself. Because they scratch my itch, but then I never think about anybody else. So if I was going to build this plugin, we would need to take a couple of sessions off to build it first and then come back to designing. And maybe you're more interested in the theme design than the plugin. So I'd love to hear your comments on that. In the ticket, please, if you have time. Just reading in the chat quickly. You definitely have some good, solid opinions. I'd love to have them in the issue. And yeah, let me know whether you think it would be worth spending some time looking at building the plugin as well. Or whether we should just maybe do the CLI command and then we can do the plugin later. Think about it. I'd love to hear what you think. But we're on the hour officially because I started at 2 minutes past. And it's now 2 minutes past. So I thank you all for joining me and I thank you all for your interactivity. And I'm going to try my best to write update posts about these sessions so on my blog. So keep an eye out for that. I also will be uploading all of these to my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch any of this again, I'm probably going to create a separate playlist for it. Hopefully. I'm going to try and make this something that folks can come along and follow along. But yeah, if you have any comments on anything, you want to log issues, you want to make suggestions, use the GitHub issue list. Feel free. I am going to run into problems. I can guarantee that, and I'm going to need help. So Carolina, Aruba, Emily, Victor, if you guys have answers to any of these questions while we're going, anybody else, I look forward to receiving them. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a fun experiment. If you're wondering why I keep looking off to camera, it's because my webcam is there, but my screen with my chat is over here. I'm hopefully going to be fixing that soon as well. I'm waiting for a new camera and a camera stand to arrive, so then I hope to kind of change things up a bit. So hopefully I won't be staring off screen. But this was fun. I really enjoyed this. Thank you all so much for joining me. It was lovely to interact with some of you on chat. And I look forward to doing this again. And I will see you all around. Bye.